There is a lot of bad filmmaking advice out there. So tonight we're gonna watch the sunset because this sunset is ridiculous. Finland has like hours and hours long sunset. This has been going on for like 3 hours. We will watch the sunset together and talk about some of the worst pieces of advice in the filmmaking world so that you don't get suckered into believing these because they can be really bad for your career. Also, there's a lot of mosquitoes out here, so I'm suffering and enjoying with you guys. Number one, a lot of people say you should start as a PA and then kind of work your way up from there. I think that is bad advice. I think you should right now decide what you want to be in the filmmaking world and call yourself that. I think that is a way better strategy than trying to start off as a PA and then like end up somewhere where you think you want to be. I don't think anybody's incentivized to get you where you want to go, and I think you aren't going to put the time and effort, if you want to be a DP, for example, to actually becoming a DP. You'll just kind of be a PA for a really, really long time, maybe forever. And whatever you decide might change later. It's probably not going to be forever the exact same thing. For example, you might want to be a producer right now and later realize, like, actually, I really, really like set design. Or you might think like, oh, I definitely want to film commercials, and later realize that you actually like doing documentaries. So don't think whatever you're going to choose, like documentary DP, that's going to be forever. It might change, but call yourself what you want to be right now. Is this just getting better or what? Number two, don't play the hierarchy game. I think a lot of people think you gotta like climb the filmmaking ladder, and then someday when you're really good, somebody's gonna be like, hey, let's make your dream project happen. And that actually never happens, like almost never. Again, nobody above you on the hierarchy on the ladder wants to be like, hey, you come up here, take my spot. No, they're all fighting that same game. And so if you're stuck playing those games, you're probably never gonna end up where you actually wanna be. Again, call yourself what you wanna be and just skip straight to it. Don't think you have to like work up the ladder of filmmaking. That's a made up thing. There's no such thing. Number three, this one is always controversial. I wanna give my 2 cents on, don't work for free. I strongly disagree with that. I have worked for free many times in life, including I've done it, just last year I did a whole Red Bull project. I didn't get paid a dime. I do free projects all the time just because I really want to do it, or I think it'll lead to more interesting things. Now, I'm not saying you keep working for free for the same client for like a bunch of times. I'm just saying like maybe one project and then you start charging, or you got a really great portfolio piece or project under your belt that then you can show to other people. Working for free, there has to be some other benefit. And money isn't always the most important thing for your career. Sometimes you of course need the money, but a lot of times you don't necessarily need the money. And actually, if you just work for free for this one project, it could open up a lot of doors for you. You probably can't see my face too much, but I think that's probably okay. I think this is definitely better. If you're thinking I should be watching this instead of talking to camera, I've literally done this like every night here at the cottage. We're staying at this beautiful cottage right over here. Very dark right now. I'm not gonna change exposure. Get that nice and perfect. Number 4, true artists don't care about money. BS. I think money is not the most important thing at all, but it is a huge tool in your tool belt to do the projects that you actually want to do. If you're always having to struggle in terms of finances, you're always having to take kind of like the crappiest jobs, whereas the more you can kind of get your finances going, the more selective and picky you can be. A lot of people might say like, oh, it's about the art, it's not about the money. No, it can be about both. You don't have to do like either or. And some projects might be completely about the money, and some projects then, once you have that money, you can pay your bills, are much more about like the art or whatever you want to call it. I always feel weird about calling filmmaking art. I don't know. I just don't see it that way. But just because you're making a lot of money doesn't mean that you're not a true artist or whatever people want to call it. I think the smartest artists have realized how to make money that then in turn makes their art and their work even better. It all works in tandem. I think without the right finances, you're always going to be struggling to make the projects that you really want to make, or you're having to take jobs that you hate, which leads to more jobs that you hate. And so that's why I don't see like making money, selling out, and art as like opposite ends. I think they're much more hand in hand. This just, how does it keep getting better? How is that possible? Number 5 and 6 go hand in hand. Number 5, gear doesn't matter. BS, it definitely matters. You can't do your job without gear. You need a camera, and having specific pieces of gear matter a lot. For example, I just made a little mini documentary on a pro rollerblader, and I used a ton of different tools, ton of different gear, from like the FX3 to the X5, Insta360 X5, to get some really unique angles, to a one wheel. The one wheel made an insane amount of difference. And so gear really does matter. Now, it doesn't matter, number 6, gear doesn't matter in terms of, if you can't make something good with your iPhone, you're probably not going to be able to make something good with an FX3 or an Alexa or whatever. And so it's not like an escape clause that just because you get to good gear, then you'll make good stuff. And actually, it's terrifying once you have an Arri Alexa Mini LF and there's no excuses because you got the best camera in the world. I really think people focus way too much on this gear matters, gear doesn't matter. I think a piece of gear can be incredibly motivating. A new camera, a new lens, changing the lens to, an 85 versus a 24 versus some vintage lens can completely change the way that you make your project. And so I think it's the right piece of gear for the right project. Gear matters, but it also doesn't matter in the end. If you suck at filmmaking, it's not going to make a difference if you have the best gear in the world. And on the flip side, if you're really good at filmmaking, you can use whatever. Like Danny Boyle, 28 years later, they were using iPhones. I'm sure they could have used some other camera. I still don't know fully. Even though I interviewed Danny Boyle, I'm not 100% sure why they used iPhones. But if you're a great filmmaker, you can make great stuff with any gear, really. That being said, there are still times where you need a very specific piece of gear, like a techno crane to pull off the shot, or a drone, or a very specific lens. And so yeah, gear doesn't matter, but it definitely does matter also at the same time. I've been filming this video for 20 minutes or something like that now, and it's still setting, like infinite suns. If you want the best light in the world for filmmaking, come to Scandinavia or go anywhere super north in the summer. It's incredible. The sun just, and it literally just like pops down, and then it doesn't get fully dark. It'll just kind of stay like sort of bright, not even blue hour, like brighter than that. And then the sun will just come a few hours later. It'll come up over there, down. It'll come up like over there somewhere. It is incredible. Number 7, I hear this one a lot, is filmmaking doesn't pay, but I do it for the love, or whatever. And that's complete BS. I think filmmaking can definitely pay. And I feel really bad right now when I'm hearing a lot of these stories from like Hollywood and how there's no work and blah, blah, blah. And meanwhile, I feel like I have infinite amounts of work. I do have infinite. I could make as many videos as I possibly can, and I could still make more. And every single video that I make money from. And so I think this idea that if you're like a true filmmaker or a filmmaker in general, you can't make money. And I'm not saying that you have to do YouTube or social media. Even when I was just DPing, I was easily making 6 figures. Like, it wasn't even that hard to make 6 figures. And the problem is that just because you're good at filmmaking doesn't mean that you're good at the business side of things and that you'll know how to make money off of your filmmaking. Those are like 2 different things. And actually, a lot of times, people who are really great at filmmaking, very artistic, very skilled, are terrible at the business side. And so just like you work on your filmmaking and your learning, you also need to work on your business side. And so if you ever catch yourself saying something like, I don't do accounting, like I don't do taxes, that stuff's scary, or like I'm really bad at taxes, then get good at taxes because you'll make more money. There's so many different areas like taxes, like knowing how to charge for what you're actually worth, knowing when to say yes and knowing when to say no, so you're taking on the best projects, passive income, trying social media. There are so many different ways to make money, and I honestly don't believe at all that if you want to be a filmmaker, you need to be like a starving artist. I think you're doing something severely wrong if you are a starving artist as a filmmaker. There's more need than ever for filmmaking. There's more jobs than ever for filmmaking. And if you're not making money, then maybe either you're not good enough at the filmmaking side or you really need to work on the business side. And proof of it is the best filmmakers in the world are actually incredibly wealthy. A lot of them are very, very wealthy. And so if the best filmmakers in the world aren't poor, you don't have to be either. And I also don't believe that you have to be the best filmmaker in the world to make money. I think there's so many different ways to make money as a filmmaker. And again, if you're thinking like, oh, money doesn't matter, nope, get that out of your head. Money really does open up a lot of doors and just gives you the freedom to do more of the work that you want. So the more you can kind of get your savings and your investments going, the more freedom you have to really do the things that you want, which then makes you a better filmmaker. It's more motivating. It is really important to think about how can you make more money as a filmmaker. Even if it's just like buying gear and renting it to the production so that you can make $150 or $200, $500 extra every single shoot day you have. There are multiple ways to do that. The mosquitoes are getting me, but it is totally worth it. Like, this is pretty nice. Sharing this moment. We've been in Finland for a good few weeks now, a little vacation. Well, I've still been doing some work, posting some videos, real fun ones, but this place is magical. I never get enough of it. Like, how could you not love this? All right, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed this sunset with me, and I hope you don't fall for any one of these 7 really bad pieces of advice that a lot of people give, including other filmmakers. A lot of people fall for them, so yeah, don't do it. But do come to Finland during the summer if you want the best light ever, for hours, for literally hours. All right, what do we do now? Do we just watch it? Do we time lapse this? I don't even know how to. Can you time lapse on it? I don't even. When's the last time I've done a time lapse? Well, maybe I'll just let it run, point it down, and we'll just enjoy it together. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you later.